So let's take a look at the starter for today, please. The starter for today, is there a starter? Yes, there it is, February 11th. Okay. And there you go. Please take this. Please do well. Use your work from previously. Use page 88 in your digital notebook to help you answer these questions. Which of the following is true based on page 88, Malawi culture? Albinism is a disorder only found in sub-Saharan Africa. If that is true, click it. If it is false, leave it blank. Esau is the name of the Malawi musician featured in the video. In sub-Saharan Africa, people with albinism are targeted for their body parts that are used in witchcraft to provide good fortune, or believed to provide good fortune. And the musician used his music to raise awareness of the treatment of people with albinism. Please check all of the ones that are true, and you have 2 minutes. All right, let's look at the summary for today. Today, you're going to identify key characteristics of Malawi's economy. That is the focus today. Okay, and look at the North Carolina Standard Course of Studies. Understand the economic activities of modern societies and regions. Unit Africa and the Middle East. Statement of inquiry: discontent creates change. And we saw that yesterday a lot, right? With the discontent of the treatment of people with albinism and the desire of change. Synchronous work is the starter, which you should have just finished. We're going to begin 89 Malawi economics, and then the ticket out the door, February 11th, ticket out the door. Asynchronous work is to complete page 89. You can do some math today. Okay, you're gonna do some math today, probably during your asynchronous work. You could even like bring it up in math class, and that'd be great, right? That's exciting. So everybody go to page 89. You may need to refresh your notebook just to make sure you have it. It is just about distributed to everybody. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. If you look at page 89, let me reshare my screen so I can have y'all see my entire screen over here. So you can see the digital notebook as well. All right, so if you look at page 89, here we go. All right, I just basically ask some questions of you, okay? And you need to answer them as the presentation goes, and even just like take notes that will help you answer these questions. For example, that first one, Malawi has what type of economy and why? So that's like the first thing I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to generally talk about it in like a presentation, okay, with a slideshow, and you need to be able to answer that question. And then continue the next one. What is Malawi's GDP? What does that mean? What is Malawi's GDP per capita? What does that mean? These are just some important characteristics of Malawi's economy that I need you to know. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and it's not like taking bulleted notes. It's actually answering questions based on the presentation. And then I'll have some applications, some math questions here as well. So again, yeah, you may need to refresh your notebook to see if you have page 89. Almost everybody should have it at this point. Okay? All right, let's get started. Here we go. So hang with me. Hang with me. Okay, Malawi, economics. So here we go. Type of economy. If you remember the types of economies, right? We have market, command, and then we have mixed is everywhere in the middle. Okay, again, market, command, mixed is everywhere in the middle. Market is the people have absolute control. The government is 100% hands off. Command is the government's in control and the people don't get any say at all. But anywhere in between is technically a mixed economy. So Malawi has a mixed economy. Okay, there's both free market and command economy characteristics. There's government regulation, there are taxes, there's this involvement with the government, which makes it more command, but there's also free decision making by the people of what they want to do. So this is similar to the United States, but here's the deal. Enforcement of government regulation is lacking. The government is a little bit disorganized and not as functional, I guess, as the US government. So it lacks in the ability to enforce the regulations, the laws, to protect people's rights, property rights, all of that, okay? So people can make their own economic decisions in Malawi. You could buy what you want, right, in Malawi. You go to the store and buy whatever you want, go to the market, buy whatever you want. You could do whatever job you want, okay? But here's the deal. The economy is struggling, so that limits people's opportunity. You can buy what you want, but if you don't have a job because there's 50% unemployment, 1 out of every 2 people is not working in a way. That's some of the data that I've seen. I've also seen others. Then you don't have money to spend on whatever you want. So yes, it is a mixed economy and people can decide, but not much to decide if you can't find work and you don't have money. Okay, so those are some of the things that are some of the issues facing Malawi. So here I was looking at a resource talking about the health of Malawi's economy. Okay, and this is just showing the rankings and just kind of how the government does in protecting people's rights. They don't do well here. The red means it's just not going well. Up here would be, I don't know exactly where the United States would be. Okay, property rights, government protecting them, judicial effectiveness, the judges, the whole system. There's a backlog of just different court cases about protecting people's property rights. And then government integrity is lacking. So it's like corruption is a part of the issues with Malawi's economy. So I'm going to press play on the music, and I want you to answer that first question, please. Go.
Sadana, here, team for the 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 Sadana, here.
All right, here we go. We're going to continue here. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. Okay, this is the total value of goods produced, goods and services produced in a country during 1 year. You take like all of this production and that takes place with goods and services. It's kind of like the overall value and what the country is making. Okay, the total in Malawi on average in a year is $23.7 billion. That may sound like a lot. But then here you go, per capita means per person. On average, a person in Malawi per year makes a total of $1,199. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Don't use prior knowledge on this, but if you look at this document on page, right? What is Malawi's GDP? You'd put that in there. Here you put like mixed economy and explain why. GDP, okay, what is their GDP? What was it? 23.7 billion? Okay. And then you'd explain what it is. Yep, $7 billion. And then explain what it is. GDP per capita, $1,199. Explain what it is. Now here you go. Based on, let's get into math here. Based on this information, And I may skip over this and have you do it for your asynchronous time. I just want to make sure I get through all the slides. But based on the GDP and GDP per capita information, not capital. Erase that. Sorry. What is Malawi's population? Don't use prior knowledge and research to identify the population, but mathematical principles. What could you do? If the GDP is $23.7 billion and per person, everyone on average makes $1,199. Based on that mathematical data information, what's the population? Put in the chat when you get it. Put in the chat. Come on, y'all. What do you got? What do you got?
Hallelujah. 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 Up, up, Jesus. Down, down, devil. Up, up, Jesus. Down, down, devil.
Anybody got it? Anybody got the answer? Use a calculator. Would you look? Share that with everybody. Put it in the. There you go. That's it. How did you solve it? How did you solve that problem? What'd you do? Yeah, divide what by what? Yeah, 23.7 billion by 1,199. You end up with about 19 million people. There you go. That would be the population based on this data. And that's an estimate, that's approximate, but that's the mathematical principle there. All right, good, good. Let's continue here. I'm talking about getting our math on. Major industry, agriculture. Major industry in Malawi is growing things, growing crops and materials and tea and sugar and tobacco and corn, maize, bananas, mangoes, coffee. Those are all different things that the Malawian people grow. Those are that's the major industry. So most of the people, if they are working, will work in some capacity in agriculture and growing things. That's even if they're not subsistence farmers. A lot of people, everybody honestly has some land that they rent and they grow their own corn. Almost everybody does. Okay, but here a lot of occupations are in agriculture. Okay, again, tobacco, tea. I've been to this actual tea plantation, okay, called Lajiri, okay, near Mount Mulanje. It's incredibly beautiful. It's stunning. It's great. The tea is great. Okay. And then you have sugar. Okay, with sugar cane. Everybody's growing corn and maize. Mangoes, y'all. Who likes mangoes? Who likes mangoes? Anybody like mangoes? Here's the thing. I have mangoes, so many mangoes growing in my backyard while I was there on these massive trees. These mangoes are like this big. It's crazy. But here's the deal. It's kind of sad a little bit because there's a lot of malnutrition in Malawi, a lot of poverty, and a lot of people not eating well. But the mangoes, they all seem like they're ripe at the same time. And you have mangoes just growing everywhere on these trees all throughout Malawi, and they're trying to sell them to make money on the side of the road. But nobody needs mangoes because there are so many mangoes. There's such a high supply and not a large demand, supply and demand principles, that the cost of a mango would be like a penny or less. In fact, you can't even sell them all because there are so many. All right. But anyway, that's just an example. And then there's some coffee plantations in the northern part of Malawi as well. Okay. All right. Continue here. All right. Imports and exports. Imports and exports. So Malawi imports $12.818 billion of goods. All right. So that's $12,818,000,000 of goods that Malawi buys from other countries that they have to bring in, that they pay for. Okay, you see these percentages. They're bringing in goods from South Africa. They're bringing in a lot of goods from China, India, United Arab Emirates, and the Netherlands. That gets my mind going. What are they bringing in from the United Arab Emirates? What are they bringing in from the Netherlands? But nonetheless, those are the percentages Okay, and there are obviously more because that doesn't add up to 100, but that's just an idea. Okay, then you have exports. Malawi sells or sends out 10 billion. Okay, 10.718 billion, which is $10,718,000,000 of goods to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Belgium, South Africa, Netherlands, United Kingdom or Great Britain, Germany, and the United States. All right, so here's your math question. Does Malawi have a trade surplus or deficit, and how much? Let me know your answer in the chat. Let me know the answer in the chat when you get it. Do they have a trade surplus or deficit? And what is the amount of the surplus or deficit? Think through this. Think through Malawi as a business. If you have a surplus, a business surplus or profit, then you are selling more than you're buying. If you have a deficit, you are buying, spending more money than you're selling, and you're then losing money. So is Malawi making money or losing money? If you're making money, it is a surplus. If you're losing money, it is a deficit. Go ahead and work on that and put in the chat when you think you got it. Okay?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Y'all got it, right? So they have so is it a surplus or deficit? I see some information. Y'all got to write to everybody in the chat, so it's just not private to me. It's a deficit. They're losing money. Good. And they're losing about $2 billion in trade, right? They are not selling as much as they have to bring in as a country as a whole. Okay, so if they're a business, they would be losing in trading alone about $2 billion. Okay. Now that's not exactly how you determine if a country's like making a profit or not, and that's not exactly what they do. But nonetheless, that would be kind of part of they would want to be exporting more than they're importing to increase the wealth of their nation. Okay, all right, currency. All right, we know earlier that's the Malawian kwacha, because Zimbabwe, I believe Zimbabwe or Zambia also has a kwacha. Okay, but a Malawian kwacha is the currency. And here's the number here. 762. When I was there, it was 150, and then it changed a little bit to 175. Okay. Oh man, I got a story about that for y'all too. Let me tell you, I'll tell you a quick story. Equals $1. So when I was there, you basically bring over US dollars and you trade it, and you end up with a lot of kwacha. And so that was the best way to do it, was actually to get cash, American like dollars. Then you take it to the bank, the Forex, the foreign exchange bank, and then you you exchange it, and you end up getting more kwacha than if you ran it through the Malawian bank. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but so we have friends come visit, and I sent them money from my bank account to my friends, so they could bring over cash. So I could take the cash to the bank, and let's say if I just took my money out of the Malawian bank where I had some of the money, let's say I get like 150 kwacha per US dollar. But if I brought actual cash and took it to the bank, I would get like 180 kwacha per dollar. So I would kind of make 30 kwacha per dollar if I brought cash. So I have my goodness, I have my friends bring cash over. So I got the cash, and then I put it in a book, the cash, and then I packed up the book and put the book in a bag so my friends could take it home. So I would have to bring less home when I traveled back from Malawi when I came back in the summer. So they brought the cash over and everything, and then I accidentally shipped it right back to them in a book. But I still got the cash when I got home. But anyways, my plan didn't work. Nonetheless, here we go. So I have 762 Malawian kwacha equals $1. Let's look at this. I like this one. We're almost done, y'all. Oh, this is it. This is the last one. We did it. We did it. We made it. All right, look at this question. Woo, this is the EOG question right here. You arrive to Lilongwe International Airport in the capital of Malawi. You have $1,000 budgeted for lodging, for place to stay. You take to the money. You take the money. My goodness. You take the money to the Forex bank, almost like what I did when I was there, and exchange the $1,000 to the Malawian currency, which is kwacha, right? Then you go to the Sunbird Hotel in Lilongwe, which is an actual hotel in Lilongwe, to book as many days as possible. Each night at the hotel costs 44,280 kwacha. How many days can you stay at the hotel without going over your budget? Ooh, that's a good question. That's an EOG question right there. Go ahead and let me know when you have the answer.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ndasiona ine. Ndasiona ine. Ndasiona ine. Amalume. Amalume.
All right, y'all tell me how you got that. Tell me how you got 17 days. How'd you get 17 days? So you can stay at the Sunbird Hotel for a little over 2 weeks. How come? Why? How'd you solve it? What'd you do? Show your work. How many times y'all hear that? Classic math teachers. Yeah, you mean 1,000. There you go. Yeah, 1,000. Take the $1,000 times 772 kwacha, right? And you get what? 76,000 or whatever. 760,000 whatever kwacha. You divide that by 44,280 per night. That's 17 days that you can stay at the Sunbird Hotel in Lilongwe. All right. All right, y'all, let's go to the ticket out the door. Then you got to refine this document. Refine this document based on the presentation, okay? And make sure that you have those questions answered and that they are accurate, because you will probably see them on the starter tomorrow. Oh, no starter tomorrow. Why is there no starter tomorrow? Got a quiz. Y'all got a quiz tomorrow. Y'all be ready. Let me tell you. Let me tell you all the questions on the quiz. You ready for all of them? You ready? You're gonna be mad at me. Here's the question. Which of the following is true about Malawi? Those are that. I asked you that question 4 times. And then I just write a bunch of statements that are true and untrue about Malawi based on all these lessons. You got to tell me which ones are true, which ones are not true. I like those questions. I just gave you all the questions. It's easy. No, it's not true or false. It's like the starters. You know how I say, like, based on page 88, which of the following are true? And then I give you like 4 to 7 options, and you got to tell me which ones are true and which ones are false. So yeah, I guess it is true or false in a way. But there are 4 questions, each valued at 1.25 points, which equals 5 points total. All right. So look over your notes, make sure everything is done well, make sure you have all that information, review the information. It's all straight from the notebook pages. I mean, that's the reality. It's straight from the lessons. I probably have a question. I think one question is about Monday's content, which of the following is true, basically based on Monday's lesson. Then one question is, which of the following is true about Malawi, but I take it from Tuesday's lesson. And the third question is about Wednesday's lesson, and the fourth question is about Thursday's lesson. And then you got the quiz on Friday. There you go, 5 points, formal. Okay, let's go. Take it out the door, please. Y'all take these free 5 points, please. Take these free 5 points and put them in your pocket. Come on now. It's easy. Objective, unit, statement of inquiry, asynchronous work, please.